Sono Mattia Mor, questo è 10 Minutes to Inspire. Hi Peter, welcome. And thank you for coming to 10 Minutes to Inspire, a podcast by Tech.Emotion. So thank you so much for being out today. The first question is very easy. Who you are today?
Hi, thanks for having me. My name is Pieter van der Does. I'm the co-CEO of a payments company named Adyen. I'm also co-founder.
Okay, great. And if I would like to ask you if there is a venture or an experience, personal or professional, that defines you most, what would you say?
I find it very difficult. I like to, when I started my career working for large companies, and always when I came across entrepreneurs, I felt a bit jealous. I felt like I want to build something myself the way how I would like to build a company. So I quit my career as a more corporate person and joined a startup to shape something the way I like to build a company.
I completely understand that, because I always did the same. So for me, working in a corporate was not the most satisfying thing, and I did it in a less successful way than you. Adyen is one of the biggest tech company in the world, so congratulations for that. But I completely understand the feeling that you had for that. Tech.Emotion has as one of its goal the goal to inspire people. We say also in our payoff, great stories to inspire, to educate, and to entertain. Who or what inspired you in your life?
I think that, and I asked this question to my fellow board members, none of us had this one person that inspired us. We never had, if I would have to name names, I would say the windsurfer Robbie Nash.
Okay.
For the reason that when I was a teenager, he was a hero, and he probably still is today. So he can stretch that over 30, 40 years. He has done it in multiple sports. He has his own sports brand. He is a kite surfer, windsurfer, wave surfer, and he owns his own company. So a very multidisciplinary guy. And so many of the things you see today are just a gig for 3 years for people trying to make money. Whereas for him, I find it inspiring to see that there's somebody out there where it's not just a short little thing, but who really puts his life towards it. So a person is very difficult, but what inspires me is people who build companies according to a very explicit idea. And for myself, I would say, I didn't like to work for a corporate. I want Adyen to be really successful. So we are now well above 3,000 people, but it shouldn't feel like a corporate. I want all the things which I disliked about a corporate. Let's make sure we don't have them. So that's the personal challenge which I gave myself.
And I mean, you work a lot in the field of innovation, of course, being a tech company. But if I would love to ask you if you have an image in your mind to define innovation, what would you say?
Innovation is never linearly. So it's never about this. This takes so many seconds and let's halve it or let's divide it by 10. Innovation is doing things a total different way. I think one which has been mentioned a lot, but which really works for me is when there was a battle to make cameras better and having more pixels, it was actually the drone or the action camera, which you could use underwater and put on your helmet, which changed the world. Totally something else, where nobody was asking about pixels.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very vivid image. But we are doing similar things, that when terminals are connected in store to a cash register, if you're running a store and you update something and it doesn't work anymore, that's horrible. Yeah. So why are we connecting terminals to cash registers rather than making the terminal connecting to Adyen and the cash register to Adyen so that we can control that terminal, make sure it works. Yeah. So it's not trying to make something which exists more robust. Let's do it in a total different way. But drones and cameras just is more visible than if I talk about how we connect terminals. But it's the same idea. It's not like let's go linearly along a path, but let's just break rules and do it totally different.
Yeah. Chris Garner, a brilliant entrepreneur, said yesterday, if we cannot sit at the same table of the billionaires, build your own table. So that's in some way the spirit of innovation. Is there anyone that you see as the most innovative person in your sector, or more people?
Yeah, I always struggle with naming people.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
So let's not then.
Okay.
But there are many people which I find inspiring, and most elements I'm intrigued by the misfits. The misfits who really think differently, the ones where if you talk to, you know that they're really smart, and you have to be very careful to say to them, but what you say, that sounds utterly wrong, because you know if you say that, they will prove me wrong. I like talking to them. I like to have a sheer amount of, I think the nice word for it is neural diversity.
Yeah.
So people who really think a different way. And that's also one of the challenges if you build a larger company.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that the differently thinking feel at home, are being appreciated? And how do you make sure you don't end up with perfect operators, people who are professionals who know to do their job? But those are not the ones that make change. You need to find the mix between the ones that make change. You need to protect them for their weirdness, so, as it sometimes comes across. We have a large responsibility for high volumes of processed payments. Yeah. And you cannot just do that with a group of people that are very creative or very smart. You also need people who know process and who are executing those processes very strictly. So you need to be able to cater for multiple different people, and that's what I try to.
You're using the word multiple. That is the title of, the concept of Tech.Emotion is the rise of multiple intelligences, because we strongly believe that only the combination of different type of intelligences, from artificial intelligence to emotional intelligence, can drive a better, more sustainable development. What's your opinion about that?
Of course, you need to look at the mix, and you know that if you just let the system run, that it will have unwanted side effects, and that can be very practical problems. That somehow the system detected that I should not fly EasyJet, and you don't know why, and you don't know how to get me off. I had that with one of my credit cards. I couldn't fly EasyJet with that card, so I had another credit card, but somehow, somewhere. Whereas I never did anything wrong. Yeah. I know for sure I just pay my bills. I don't do weird chargebacks for no reason. Somehow the system decided, maybe because I travel a lot, so I'm from different addresses, bought tickets, or I bought a ticket from Brazil, from Amsterdam to London, and somewhere I got flagged as this is not good. And I cannot call a number to get out. You're just, the system has, we have to be very careful with that.
And I think we are living, times where the human part and that should be helping a lot the development of technology and on AI.
To my view, there should be a balance. There should be a break. There should be an escape to the system running wild.
You have a very successful enterprise, and as said, you escape the corporate world to become a startupper, and so you know very well what failure means, because every entrepreneur risks to fail all the time, and but also there is mainly in Italy and in Europe, compared to other geographies, more adversity to risk and to failure. So what's your view on that? What would you say to the young generation about taking risk and failure?
I think many entrepreneurs are being seen as risk takers, but in reality are risk averse.
Yeah.
I would always wear a seatbelt because my return on risk is very low in a car. So what's the return on not wearing a seatbelt? Well, that I might kill myself unnecessary, but there's nothing positive there. Yeah, you might find it uncomfortable. I find it a minor. So in the balance, that's wrong. Whereas other people would look at you, you're a risk taker, so what do you care? But it's not the way. So each business decision that you take, you balance the risk versus the potential return. We are very careful risk takers. There is a European way to build companies, which is, I think, from the inside out. So we build something, we test it, we in our case put merchants on it. Then we go to venture capitalists, we ask for money, and we build this way a company from the inside out. There's an American model which is the other way around. You have a great idea, you claim it, you ask for money for it, then you therefore make it very difficult for others to enter the market because you already claimed it. And then from the outside you build in, because at the start you're not so good yet, you just claimed. And I don't think that we as Europeans need to embrace that model. And I don't think it's necessarily wrong, the US model, because that has built very successful companies. But you have to be true to yourself, and I don't think it's us, because we tend to carefully build and weight risk and balance. And if you start behaving out of character, you would probably be very bad at it. If you just would do a wild claim, collect a lot of funds. And so I also have certain admiration for companies that do that. I could never do it. It's not for me.
I thank you, because I mean, being one of the most important European company, you have like the good view to give this suggestion to all of us. I would love to speak hours with you, but this is a format called 10 minutes to inspire, so our time is gone. But I really thank you, Pieter van der Does, to be with us, and been an amazing conversation, and really happy to have you in Milan and in Italy.
Well, thanks again for having me, and great to be in Milan today.